Lip sync is much more than just synchronizing the lips to the action, to the dialogue. There are general principles and some fixed rules that make dialogue really effective. They involve accents, phrasing, flexibility in the face, and popping vowels for vitality. There are a lot of things we'll look at. In fact, there's so much that we have 2 sessions on dialogue.
Good morning to you. Good morning to you. We're all in our places with sunshiny faces. Oh, this is the way to start a new day. And movable lips. Movable lips are the very best lips to talk and sing with. That was Miss Dorland in my grade 6 class. And she had very big teeth and very nice woman, but we had to start every day like that. That is not how to do lip sync. This is the absolute opposite. And you see these, isn't it, these magazines, these books, with positions of the mouth. This is the N, and that's the O, and in the cartoon books, in the Preston Blair book, it shows you the positions. Well, it's all rubbish because there are no positions that fit exactly, isn't it? I mean, Kirk Douglas says N like N, and I would say N like N. This is N, depending on which teeth show. Everybody's totally different. So there are no mouth positions. There are closed mouths and open mouths, right? That's about it. Like the Muppets, open, close. And everybody does it different. Everybody's lips are different. Everybody's delivery is different. In Oxford, they don't hardly can speak. They hardly move their lips. They're saying, reference points. Everything is reference points. John Milton, Paradise Lost. Picasso. Matisse, Morandi. Everything. Leonardo da Vinci. You see, so everything is. There's nothing working. They don't even make sentences anymore. So we go straight to what is called phrasing. If we say this is phrasing, it's a Hollywood term. Lip action.
The first thing to say is, don't do this. Don't articulate every snap and pop. How are you? How are you? Now we'll boil it down so it's simple. Let's try it in just 4 positions. How are you? How are you? It works well, but can we make it work with only 3 positions? How are you? How are you? Phrasing from one position to the other. How are you?
If we're saying the word fortune, fortune. Obviously, English is such a peculiar spelling. It's ridiculous. English, isn't it? Spanish where it's phonetic is much better. What in the word fortune, we don't say fortune, good fortune to you. It's fortune, good fortune. I hope you make a fortune. So it's for tune, isn't it? So when we're animating, we want to go for, something like that. He's saying for. He doesn't have to go, or. He's just saying for, and then he'll go to tune. That's something like that. Tune.
Two main positions. Go from one to the other.
Fortune. Fortune.
Two positions. And we phrase from one to the other. We do not do this. The first drawing would be the same. For. And then let's take the end one here. That's supposed to be the same drawing again. We don't have an in-between that's hitting the T. Okay? No. N-O. Okay? Don't open it twice. Don't open it twice. And that's what the phrasing is. Fortune, fortune, fortune. It's not fortune. It's not fortune. If I just say fortune, fortune, or fortune, fortune. There's another example of it. Let's just. He's going to say hello. 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 Yeah, it's to he and low. So we'll go he. If that's an O. He, and the L is phrased from one to the other. Hello, 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 hello. Not hello.
Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello.
When they do a dubbing thing is you try to hit the accent. Obviously when they start opening their mouth, they hit the vowel right on, bang, and they try to end. And the middle is smudged, isn't it? If they can get in and get out okay. You know, those Italian films are very funny, isn't it? Hercules Unchained or whatever it is, and it's just a mess in the middle, but they hit the front and end accurately. So we're doing a little bit of that, but that's what happens in normal speech, that there may be a mouth position, an N in there, maybe, an L, I mean, but we just pass over it. We smudge over it.
Elephant juice.
Elephant juice.
Alligator shoes.
Alligator shoes.
Colorful.
Colorful.
I love you.
I love you.
Very important, the consonants are the closed mouth positions. say B, M, P, F. I'm just going to draw these as closes. I mean, there's no particular way to draw them because we're so different the way we do it. You could have P. Well, P could be that way. F could be the other way. It doesn't really matter. But where you have a soundtrack and it's saying, let's say baseball. Word. Say we got 2 frames for the B and 4 frames for the A. 2 frames for the S, and 1 frame on the track reading, baseball, and here's the L, say, for 4 frames. And that would be the editor's reading of the track or your reading of the track. This B position, B, which is only 1 frame, an accurate reading on the soundtrack, we have to in order to make those things read, we have to have a minimum of 2 frames. To read. Now, in other words, the sound is B for 1 frame. We're going to steal. We must hit the O right on the nose, right? We'll come to this sync thing. We must hit that O right on the modulation. So we can't steal the frame. We can't steal the frame from there, right? We've got to steal the frame from the S. So if I were drawing 1, say I'm on 2s. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. I've got to smack that one. I've got to hit that one on 10. That's going to be drawing 10. I've got to either use 9 for 2 frames or put in another one. I've got to have a B that lasts 2 frames in order to read it. And the same with the M and the P and the F and any others that there are. Okay, now the interesting thing is, and that's a rule. I've found no exception to that so far. And the most amazing thing is, I was recently studying a piece of live action, which is kind of like the camera just filmed me. There's a woman speaking in a close-up with the mouth about that size in the screen. It was quite a long shot. And I thought, well, you know, these things I'm showing, these are animators' rules, right? And they don't apply necessarily to actual reality. But the shocking thing was, an amazing thing was, that it does apply. Certainly in this case. I can't stand that lip. It's terrible. In this case, it did apply. She would steal, she's talking away, and she would steal from the S. She would be saying S, and the sound would even sound like S, but maybe it's a dead frame in there or something, but she would, on every single consonant, because I was really close, you could see the whole thing, and it's a sort of 25, 30 feet shot, 20 seconds or 15 seconds, with many consonants. She would always steal, she'd always have 2 frames for the consonant. Isn't that weird? Anyway, so that, I would say that's as far as I know, that's an absolute rule. Make those consonants read. You need 2 frames. Steal from the one before. Mark?
On your hello, where you said skip the L,
yes.
It of course means if it's not stressed in the soundtrack.
Right,
could
of
say,
course.
Hello.
Yes, or hello.
And then like the O in baseball there, you would want to
Sure,
see that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm saying for a delivery
For just
of
a regular hello.
Hello, hello, hello. Yeah, Vincent Price would go, hello.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, common sense. But And oftentimes, of course, the S will be maybe one frame, and you'll have two frames for the B. Two frames for the B, however you want to write it. But if you ain't got it, steal from the preceding frame. Okay. Now, just to finish that off, here's a good example again, memory. I just want to, that would be from Mark's question. Memory, we don't say memory, well, maybe memories, sweet little memories. We say memories. We don't say three bits. We say memory. Memories of you, isn't it? I've got all these memories driving me crazy. What do I do with my memories? Memories, isn't it? Memories of you, isn't it? So we're busting everything down into the main components, for want of a better word. Okay, now the vowels. Let's use baseball, which is baseball. In actuality, is base, ball, isn't it? Baseball. And you could almost lose the S's. Maybe it's going to be bay, ball. We're going to smudge over the S. Let's see, I have to do it to see. We start with the B. We got two? Yeah. If the soundtrack wasn't, if that was the start of the B, I'd have drawing one and make the B start physically earlier one to read it. So, and then we're going to hit bay. It's going to be, and yeah, there's always also one accent, like it isn't baseball. Well, it could be baseball. It's usually baseball or baseball. No, it's baseball. You hit the A stronger than the ball, generally. So we pop open. Pop open. No in-betweens. No drawing in the middle there. And that gives you the right, and that's what happens in lip action. They pop on the vowels. We speak so fast, it's so articulate, so much is going on, that the vowels pop. There's no in-betweens. And we're going to go back to S. Let's put S here. Let's say we do have it. We're going to sort of show an S. It's almost closed, isn't it? That's a little better. There's your S. And we will go to the, we'll cushion back with other drawings halfway. Maybe that's, however, baseball. And then we come back Woo, that's going to be 10, 11, 12, 13. We're going to cushion back into the L, which is going to be something like that. L. Bunch of drawings in there.
Baseball. Baseball.
Baseball. Baseball.
Baseball. Baseball.
Baseball. Baseball.
Cricket.
But I'll do bang again. Here's bang. B. We're going back to bang. We're going. That's it. Kind of smudged there. So that gives you that'll give you the vitality. Vitality from popping vowels. Popping on vowels, or popping open on vowels.
Bang. Bang.
Now, one thing you might do, which happens a lot, supposing this one isn't quite as popped open, but it's popped open, you might cushion at the bottom, of course, right? This might be bigger. And I don't know, it would tend to be starting to go up again. So that would become your extreme down position. That happens a lot. You could even do that on some things. Bang, bang. When it's bang, pop on the pop, bang, and then come up. You probably need a couple more drawings in there.
Bang. Bang.
And you can also pop closed. That's optional as a rule, I think. But nearly always, well, certainly for vitality, pop open on the vowels. And then you can cushion or start going back in. You can slide into a bang, or you can keep it out and start to come back into the ing, and then pop into the ing, optionally.
Bang. Bang.
We certainly pop open on the at the beginning, and we can pop open to the closed. I tend to mostly cushion. Most words seem to be naturally cushioned. And just a thing for the front, if we're doing a thing, somebody says, ouch. Ouch. Or ouch. Ouch. That's pretty lousy. what we want to do is I'm exaggerating greatly here. Here's you want to in lip sync. You want to compress the face quite a lot. When it comes back up here, it's probably going to swell. And then settle. That doesn't really fit the reading of ouch. Let's go. Ouch.
Ouch! Ouch!
So we know that the skull is hooked. Wait a minute. The jawbone, the teeth are hooked, are part of the actual skull. The jawbone's on a hinge, moving up and down. And these face muscles, especially if you get older and you get neck, there's a hell of a lot of meat going on in here, so we can stretch. It's not squash and stretch, it's distend. Distend and compress. So use a lot of, if you study live action videos or something, there's an incredible amount of distortion on the human mouth, especially when somebody's angry or something, or when they're volatile, there's quite strange things going on.
Our faces are surprisingly mobile in action. Look what a contortionist can do. And our skull obviously remains the same. It's made of solid bone, but lots of action happens below the cheekbones. The top teeth are anchored to the skull. The hinged lower jaw action is primarily up and down with a slight lateral motion. The tendency is to forget just how big our mouth cavity is. Our dentist knows how big it is, or how small it can appear. There's a tendency to have a simple mouth squirming around, floating on the face. Be brave, stretch it, and compress it. Makes it an integral part of the face, and there's a tremendous amount of elasticity in our face muscles. Sucking in, puffing out. Take someone chewing. Cheek, face, nose, and eye are affected. Lips up, flattens the nose. We can interchange any of these positions. The chew can pull the nose around. Again, we can vary the order of any of these positions. Here's an uncouth fellow. It depends on who is doing the chewing. A society matron never opens her mouth versus a laborer. And she hardly opens her mouth to speak.
Do you come here often? I've never been invited before.
So don't be afraid to distend and compress. Can I write? I'll write that. Don't. That's good. Be afraid to compress. Okay. And that would be, again, the greater the action, the greater the reaction, right? Anyway, that's, now, accents, which are the most important thing. Oh, just one thing before we get in. The tongue, our tongues move so fast when we're talking that, say we have the tongue, which, by the way, in reality is hooked to the back of the throat, isn't it? It's hooked back here. It's not up. Anyway, in reality. So if you were to see the tongue, let's make it red. The tongue up there, and he's saying N, that would be N, that could be an N. And it's going down here. Never in between the tongue. Never have a drawing in there where the tongue is halfway. I mean, as an you might have it there for fun if it's like we did, hey, hey.
Needy. Needy.
Never. That's a rule. That's a hard and as far as I know, between the tongue. It's too fast in reality. The main thing is accents. And there's body accents, head accents, and hand accents. So that's for dialogue. Very important, very, very important. And I always say, if I have any regrets about anything, any dialogue stuff I've done, it's always that I haven't put enough of an accent, not enough of a hand accent, not enough of a head, especially with the head. Whoops. It separates the men from the boys, I think, those accents on the head. As we said, the head accent is up, which is always, usually up. Now let's take a phrase. What's my phrase? Well, at last, you've come home. I'll put it on the sheet. Just guessing at how it would be. Well, where, oh, pause, at last. You, the, come, ho. It's probably too short, but for our purposes it'll do. Which are we going to, in a piece of dialogue, there's so many ways to hit those accents. Which is going to be the one? It's like, well, at last you've come home, right? Well, at last let's do it. Well, at last you've come home. We're hitting well is the accent. And the accent would be on the E, on the vowel, right? Bang. You'd mark that on your sheet as big accent. Ken Harris always used to do it just ACC. It's a little easier. Well, at last you've come home. And there's a small accent on the O. So those are the two things we're going to hit in this sentence, with either the body or the head or the hands. So it's like, how we do it. Well. It's not going to be well, I don't think. The heads tend to be up. Well, at last you've come home. So I've done a hand accent on the home, right? In this case. Oh, wait a minute. Getting ready. Well, at last you've come home, right? Now, what about if the reading is, well, at last you've come home. You'd hit, there's your big accent. At last you've come home. There's no other accent in the sentence, okay? Now we could hit two. Or let's just go for this one. Well, at last, or no, it would probably be, well, at last you've come home. So last is your hit. Again on the vowel. Accent, big accent. Let's do it with at last. Well, at last. Didn't I go, I went at, it's a little early before the, well, at, it's up on at last. Two head accents. Well, at last, or well, at last, or well, at last, or well, at last. It depends what it is, right? So you would then say, okay, I've got a boom, boom, accent there, you see? So when we get our line of dialogue, we find where's the main accent. There's usually just one. Then go, and never darken my door again. Go is the biggie. And anyway, we listen to our soundtrack until we're blue in the face, and you know exactly what you're going to hit, what accents. And then, as I've said, I don't like this over animation. That's just me, my prejudice. But on dialogue, hit it. Hit it hard. Hit those head accents. They seem to, I always wish I'd done them a third harder. And when I used to lay out a lot of stuff of dialogue, I would do a lot of drawings. I'd almost do a drawing every 8 frames for some of the, or 2 drawings a second. Certainly a drawing a foot for any commercial work we did. And I'd give it to the animators, and it would be all right because the stuff was all laid out and carefully drawn. They wouldn't hit those accents. I would just say, oh God, they're not hitting the accents. You've got to hit those accents, especially with the head. Now the Disney thing, Frank Thomas, a master of lip sync, said the last thing he ever did was put the mouths on. They did kind of body sync, like, you know, sort of well, at last you come home. You know, the body's doing it. And they'd say, he'd get a boom, 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 boom. See, he'd get the acting in the body. And then the very last thing he'd do would be put in the mouth action. The mouth action was irrelevant. It was just the polish on it. So don't start with the lips. And you can sketch it in lightly to indicate what you're doing, but don't get hung up on the lips. What you got to get is those body accents.
So we've covered phrasing, popping vowels, flexibility in the face, and accents. But there's still a lot more to dialogue. And we'll dig into that in our next session, which is dialogue number 2. One final thing. We will show you the underlying secret of animation and dialogue.